When we first load the DICOM images, this will be shown on 3D Slicer. So it shows all the layers. As you can see here, it shows all the different layers. So you can slide it from left to right, and then it shows every single sheet where it shows the slice images of the actual bone that we scanned from the MRI scanner. So you can see here it's a box now, and we can use Shift to actually start narrowing it down. Let's use GPU to render it so it loads faster. Yep, as you can see, it went from the box to much finer detail. And later on, this clutters on the sides could be removed using Blender. So for now, for example, we just use this. Alright. So now what we need to do, this is rendering the volume. So from the 2D images into an actual 3D model. Now what we need to do is actually create a segment for it, which is what it will represent each of the vertex in as a 3D model later on. So we go to our editor. It's here, and click this one. So what this does is sort of selects what segment that we want to choose from the layer itself, as you can see here, and then we can toggle here how much of the bone that we actually want to use. And the farther I go to the left, the more clutter that it will pick up and some of the internals that we might not need. So if I just fine tune it to be something like that, where it at least takes in the surface of the sides, yet still have minimum inside, then that's a win for us, so we don't need to edit it as much. Right, so what we need to do is vertebra. After we do this, we find the actual bone color, vertebra. Now what this does is just applies the color to the 3D model, and it will be shown here, vertebra 1, let's name it for that. When I click apply, it'll create a model, and then you can see that it sort of colors some of the region by the color that I picked for the bone itself. What this does, it removes the outer layer or some things that we decided to not include in this thing. Anything that is faded, that is not solid yellow, will not be rendered as a 3D model later on. That makes it easier for us to render later on Blender and also on the game itself. As you can see, now we're in Blender with the model that we just rendered from 3D Slicer from the DICOM file. And what we need to do now is to remove all the clutters on the sides and also on the inside. As you can see, there's in the internal, there's all of these clutters that we don't really need, that will lag our game if we don't remove it. So what we need to do first is to scale it down so it's easier to work with. And what we need to do now is go to edit mode, and in Blender there's a thing where you can select a specific point or surface or an edge, and what you can do is there's a shortcut that will actually highlight every single thing that is connected with that one edge that you just that I just selected. So any clutter or anything that is not connected with the main model will be removed. So for example, if I can separate this, so now the clutter or everything that's not connected with the main model is now separated into two different objects that you can see here. And if I go to object mode, and if I hide this main model, you'll see that we're left with all the clutters that is not connected with our component. And removing this will reduce the load in Unity and also in our final build later on. So you can see there's 97,000 vertices, and if we remove this, it saves around 20,000 vertices, which is pretty big in terms of saving performance in Unity. So now we just left with this thing, and as you can see, it's now hollow and there's nothing inside of it. And that's 3D modeling in Blender and 3D Slicer. Thank you.